Mr. Kidd, Mr. Bosma, and everybody in the chapel and in other locations listening. Good afternoon. 4 years ago when I started out Ridley, my family decided that grade 8 would be a good year to start. I wanted to have a sort of buffer year before entering upper school. I wanted to learn the ropes. And as many of you here know, there are many ropes to be learned. Starting fresh in a new school is tough for anybody, and it takes a tremendous amount of courage and effort to leave your comfort zone and pursue another. Through my time at Ridley, I've been met with many hardships, and I've learned many lessons and strategies that, even after Ridley, will come in handy. Perhaps most notably, not being afraid to be yourself, not only with and around others, but when tasked with understanding who you are alone as well. When starting at Ridley, or arriving fresh anywhere for that matter, it's always too easy to become shy and let yourself blend in with the crowd around you. For example, in grade 8, I didn't have that much in common with my peers, and part of that stemmed from not really knowing who I was yet either. I wasn't really into sports. I don't think I was really into the visual arts, and I didn't have too much of an interest in music. I wasn't really into any of these things, but it was easy to pretend to be. In the lower school, the small size made it challenging to find common ground. Fewer people meant a smaller pool to make connections within. So it wasn't out of the ordinary to be unauthentically yourself. Joining in on sports conversations or trying out for the basketball team to find some mutual understanding with classmates and friends. It was all too easy to shove your own interests aside in hopes of making a connection, even a material connection forged in a false reality. And I learned something during that year. You shouldn't force people to do anything. You shouldn't force them to share your own interests, and you can't force yourself to fit a mold you were never meant to fit in. You may be able to convince them, or at the very least, show them that something interests you, but you can't do much more than that, and nor should you. You only have the right to control one person in this world, and that person is yourself. Now, let's not confuse being forced to do something with just simply trying something new. You can't force a puzzle piece into your own puzzle, but you can start to assemble a new puzzle with completely new pieces. It is absolutely important to try new things and to encourage others to go outside their comfort zone while still remaining true to themselves. There, we can find common ground in the attempt itself. Great roar. It may be pouring outside and we may all be stuck under a small gazebo, but we're all having that shared sour moment together. So that's what I did when I couldn't fit into the puzzle I had in front of me. I went out in search of a new one. The only reason I found theater as one of my passions was specifically from trial and error. Trying new things, failing, and eventually finding my calling and second family. Ridley is exceptionally great at cultivating a wide variety of activities, sports, and clubs, allowing someone who may be interested in pursuing, let's say, the arts, get experience without taking a dedicated course for the performing arts, visual arts, music, or film. If it wasn't for the school's ambitious after-school theater program, I doubt I would have taken the course through grade 10 to 12, or even recognized that theater was a creative outlet for me at all. Being able to enter an activity or sport without any prerequisites besides a naive interest does deserve merit. I encourage all students to find their passion if you haven't already. Discovering your passion leads to friendships and bonds formed. It'll help de-stress and will grant more energy throughout the day in anticipation for what comes after. Assuming it's not urgent. Activities encourage a flourishing life, finding out more about yourself and who you want to be. They give you the chance to figure out, through trial and error, who you are. So try sport, take the class, and get out of your comfort zone and take that risk with a new activity to discover who you are. And when you do unlock that person that you were always meant to be, never let it go. Don't sacrifice what makes you, you. Not in the name of popularity, success, or fitting in. Because finding out who you are is something to celebrate. You are something to celebrate. How's that for pickup line? I thought it was pretty good. Take notes, guys, come on. Now, we're talking about uncovering what makes you authentically you. But the process of finding authenticity and living authentically can cause a stir in those around us. The practice of being our true self can sometimes really grind someone's gears. Labels get painted with stereotypical behaviors that make the process of finding out who you are seem annoying, irritating, and quite bothersome. Let's say someone who you've had classes with, or who have waved to in the halls, says something that instills a terrible case of second-hand embarrassment. Or asks maybe 10 logically deducible questions too many, something that makes you want to file a restraining order against them. This happens all too often. A positive to someone, say curiosity or self-expression, can be a negative to someone else. I once heard someone say, "Are you saying that it's okay for people to be annoying just fine because they're just being themselves?" I feel that there is no connection between a person's personality and being annoying. What I've recently come to realize when looking into irritation is that we neglect to give people the benefit of the doubt or look into their side for a change. I ended up finding solace in what was my grade 8 situation. My name and the word annoying was practically the same. I see myself as a leader by nature, someone who wants to run or at least be included in discussions and group conversations. So then comes the issue when you have nothing meaningful to contribute. Keyword, meaningful. A lot of the time I look back at many conversations I've had in the past and I've recalled the structures of them. I would tell jokes vaguely relating to the conversation that would fall flat, attempt to relate two very different pieces of culture unsuccessfully, even just yell something out to remind people that I'm still there. I was annoyed because I wanted to make myself as a lasting image in my classmates' minds. I wanted to belong. However, similar to making a wish with the accursed monkey's paw, a wish with a price. They all remember me and my remarks, but not because they mattered, just because they were annoying. My journey was a perfect example of how no one chooses to be annoying. It isn't a personality trait to be coveted. It is the it is the result of someone trying to find their place, a place where they matter. However, this isn't a true tried defense for all people. Some enjoy annoying people for the sake of annoying people, with no razzing or friendly banter in mind. This is, in most ways, bullying, and it's up to you to decide which side of the fence you're on. For those of you that might feel like you want to be a more active participant in a group, try to influence it, not control it. If you were at the senior retreat, I recommend Nishad Manji's favorite 3-word phrase, "Tell me more in a new context." Take advantage of not knowing much about a subject and pursue their interest further until you feel more comfortable joining in on that topic. You don't have to try to reinvent the conversation in any direction. The best you can do to get to know someone is simply getting to know someone. Ask questions for answers rather than asking questions for your own answer. Eventually, you may find that the only common ground between you is the floor, and that signals it's time to move on. But at the very least, give each other the space to be authentic. Now, since I know many of you may be thinking right now, I get that this speech is incredible and all, but I really could be using this time to study or finish assignments or catch up on some sleep. Not that you already aren't already. Let's see. I want to address how knowing who you are, and in turn, who you want to be, can help improve your work ethic and spend less time thinking about doing your work and spend more time actually doing it. Over the years, I've come to understand motivation, one of my worst enemies. It's something that can't be obtained through instant requirement. I can't just say, turn off my short-term memory and hook myself up to a dictionary and finish an English essay in 1 hour, the day of being assigned, and wake up a level 9 worthy IB exemplar. That's just too easy. It all became much clearer what I needed to do after I took control of my courses, after I took control of my passion and took control of my life. Doing something with a reward more than a simple dopamine rush. For example, striving for a better mark, for a better average, and a better chance at a university. I want a more abstract reward that doesn't check a simple binary box, something that I could personally gain presently. When I first got chosen to be prefect and started working on the Welcome Days event, my initiative, and even this speech, I had little to no motivation to work on anything. For no reason besides, I really want to get this stuff done so I can start applying to my university sooner, as well as, if I don't do this, someone's going to be disappointed in me. Fear and stress blown out of proportion. Why did I even want to be a prefect? Was it really for the placement? None of these answers came easily either. I had a whole summer's worth of bottled up feelings and emotions. It wasn't until the Welcome Days event that I understood why I became a prefect, and that original goal I set out to accomplish. The job of a prefect isn't to do the school's dirty work unpaid, despite what others may say. It's to give back to the school and better in a meaningful way. The work that the prefects put into the welcome day, snake dance, and all the events planned in the future was and hopefully will have been met with joy and happiness. It had delivered the purest form of altruism and motivation. All the work that went into brainstorming, planning, and meeting had paid off. I figured out why I wanted to be a prefect again. It was to continue providing these good emotions, the same ones I felt during my freshman year. To summarize, it's hard to gain motivation through a distant reward. Much easier when that reward is right in front of you. Through passion and through following passion, you can find what you want to do in life. For those students who head out into the wider world, grant us good judgment in all things and maybe think with compassion. But also, my friend has a great saying about the dangers and benefits of following your risky career path. He wants to become an actor. It sounds stupid until it actually works. The chance of becoming a big-time movie star is so thin on paper, but people still succeed. And I know my friend with the passion he has and the motivation he has will succeed as well. Remember that you should always follow what makes you happy, rather than following what you may already be good at naturally. It will be more challenging in the long run, but you'll find more success, joy, and motivation. Finally, being authentic is more than just picking the classes that interest you, or taking the activities that make you happy. It's also about standing by what you think is right. Each and every one of us are faced with making decisions every single day, and sometimes we forget about a lot of those key choices we've made. For example, we all chose to wake up and attend school today. We all choose to check our tiger map, or not in feedback for a class meeting advisory. Just me? Come on. And we all choose to arrive here in proper uniform. Small asterisks on all. We all subconsciously made decisions like these today because of the different ways we've been influenced and the experiences that make you all unique. However, depending on the situation and our moral courage, it may sometimes be daunting to give out your own opinion. Whether you already know what you think is different, open to many points of criticism, or you lack courage, it's difficult. However, what you think shouldn't always be disregarded. You think that for a reason, and that reason deserves to be openly discussed. Anyways, the too long didn't read was asleep, run down my speech. Yeah, I should know if he's sitting in chapel to a place. Don't worry about what others may think of you. Get out there and be authentic. Thank you.